Hi, I'm Sandy Cross. I'm the Chief People Officer of the PGA of America. We are thrilled to be partnered with Black Enterprise to bring you this video podcast series. The PGA of America is one of the world's largest sports organizations. We're a professional trade association that represents 29,000 men and women professionals who have elected a career in the business of golf. We recruit, train, educate, and deploy these individuals to work in the business of golf all over America and around the globe. We'll have a number of leading guests, including the co-founder and CEO of Braswell, Porter Braswell. Braswell and Porter Braswell provide the PGA of America with an authentic voice and an authentic connection to the PGA of America's efforts to diversify the golf industry workforce. As the PGA of America looks to diversify the golf industry workforce, strategic partners are critical, and we're so proud to be partnering with Braswell. Porter, can you talk to us about the value of being partnered with the PGA of America? I imagine that's a bit of a non-traditional sport maybe or sector for Braswell to be involved in.
Well, we are so excited about this partnership, specifically because when we set out on this mission to build Braswell, which is a career advancement platform for Black, Latinx, and Native American students and professionals, the goal was to expose our community to the breadth of roles and opportunities that are available. And when I think about the PGA and the game of golf, historically, there have been challenges that have prevented certain communities from having access to the game of golf. And so it's been an absolute pleasure to work with the PGA because you all, through your lead, you guys are thinking about diversity from a holistic perspective. And so you recognize that in order to be a more diverse organization and industry, you have to approach it with different solutions. And so it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to be a thought partner along this journey with you all as we think about the different ways to really start engaging diverse communities to find professional opportunities within the industry that is golf.
And part of the multi-pronged approach that we have found so valuable at the PGA of America is really tapping into your community from a workforce standpoint, a recruiting standpoint. Also developing authentic visual representations of individuals from the Braswell community working in the business of golf. And more recently, we've collaborated on some insights uncovering that we're doing together. Can you talk about those three prongs?
Yeah, absolutely. So before we discussed where it was so important to diversify the game of golf, that in order to accomplish that, we both believe that in order to start to get more diverse individuals applying, they have to be able to see themselves represented within the industry. And so one of the first things that we did that was incredibly exciting is working on the Braswell PGA photo collection. And so over the last year or so, it's been viewed and downloaded over 20 million times. And so that means that it's working, that people are seeing a more representative golf industry, which allows people to feel more comfortable and feel more included within that fabric. And so now that we've been successful at that first component, we decided to get into, well, what does the community actually think about golf as an employer? And so we launched the Braswell Insights Report. And that's been a fantastic opportunity to really get the true understanding and beliefs of individuals about why or why not they are engaging with the PGA as a potential employer. And one of the exciting findings from that report is that there's strong interest to actually work within the game of golf. The community has just felt for so long that there wasn't an easy way or connection to get into the game of golf. Mm-hmm. And there was a misconception that you have to grow up playing golf in order to eventually work within the industry, and of course that's just not true. And so just getting that level of insight and allowing the community to understand that they are welcomed and that there are ample opportunities for them within the golf industry, and on top of that, they see themselves represented through our photo collection, it now leads to actually getting people into the funnel where they can find success and actually get hired. And so that three-step process has been an incredible thing to have worked with you all on.
In the insight study that we did together, we were delighted because we found that 2/3 of your community believes that a career in the business of golf would be cool, fun, rewarding, enjoyable, but there was an equal amount of people who believe that the golf industry workforce is not very diverse. And then 51% of the same audience believes that they need a background in golf to work in the business of golf. Can you talk a little bit about that? Were you as equally surprised as we were?
Yeah, well, one of the things I found to be so optimistic about the survey is exactly what you said. The words that were used by the people who took the survey, it shows the excitement that the community genuinely has about opportunities within the game of golf. And it's always been more so, and what came out in the survey is that the interest has always been there. It's just been a lack of awareness and really exposure for how to get involved. But with the interest, there's a lot of different solutions that can be applied now to ensure that individuals understand that they are more than qualified and they are sought after for these professional opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Porter, when companies talk about there is a pipeline problem or they lament the fact that they can't find diverse talent, what words of advice do you have for them? Is that real? Is that a crutch?
So there's definitely not a pipeline problem when it comes to the recruitment of diverse communities. And I think historically companies have pointed to the pipeline challenge because it's an easy way to explain why they're not diverse. And so one of the things that we take great pride in at Braswell is that we've built the community so companies can no longer say that it's a pipeline challenge. The community exists and it exists on Braswell. And so with our relationship, one of the things that's so exciting for us is that the PGA professional opportunities are now posted on the platform. So if you are a candidate on Braswell and you create a full profile, we will surface that job to you based on what you've indicated on your profile that you're interested in. So you may not even recognize that you're more than qualified for an opportunity in the game of golf or at the PGA, but through technology now, we can surface these opportunities to allow candidates to have a personalized experience. So we bridge those two worlds that haven't existed prior. And so we are incredibly thrilled about that, to host your jobs on Braswell to ensure that the pipeline can actually apply and make sure that they find their way within your applicant funnel.
And Porter, from a more personal perspective, individuals who are champions of diversity and inclusion at their respective organizations, such as myself, who don't represent the demographic that they're trying to engage, do you have any advice for us on how to do that? Like, what does it take to attract more Black, Latinx, Native American, you name the demographic that I'm not. Mm-hmm. Is there something that I should keep in mind to be more effective or most effective?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we try to explain to the allies that work with Braswell is that the number one thing they can do is just be a diversity champion. And what we mean by being a diversity champion is always being aware of the group of individuals that are disproportionately underrepresented in whatever context it may be in which you exist on a professional level. And so being a diversity champion means, from like a hiring perspective, when the candidate is coming in for an on-site interview, what types of environments are you creating where that individual feels like they belong there? So by the time they walk in and they see others that work there, and then they get into the room and the questions that are being asked, and then they exit, do they feel throughout that entire process that they felt like they belonged? As a diversity champion, you can think through mechanisms that could work in the context and the setting in which you operate to ensure that every individual feels like they feel represented throughout that experience. When hiring decisions are being made, and if the room is not composed of an individual from that particular community, who's speaking up and saying, you know what, that diverse perspective adds value to our team. And so constantly being aware that there is a responsibility and, more importantly, an opportunity to speak up for and to think about ensuring that there are settings where people feel like they belong, that's being a diversity champion. It's getting outside of yourself, and it's treating others as you would like to be treated is the gist of being a diversity champion. And I believe that if you do it with authenticity and you have empathy for a different community than you may not be a part of, it creates bridges and it allows people to feel like they belong in a certain setting. And that's the value of diversity, where people feel like they belong, because then they allow their experiences to come out, and that's what drives innovation.
So Porter, thank you so much, because you've given the PGA of America an authentic voice in a community that, frankly, we did not have an authentic voice in. So thank you for the partnership.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. To learn more about the PGA of America's commitment to inclusion and diversity, visit us at pgaimpact.org. You can also follow us at PGA Works on social media.